Hi guys, and welcome back. You can hear in the background, just behind me is actually the Reading Terminal Market over here in Philadelphia. I've had a chance to go in before, and I have to say it's probably the best marketplace I've been in my entire life. There's so much in there. You can just go around everywhere. The thousands of people getting food is unbelievable, the amount of stuff that's actually in there. But you see it at the title, you see it in the thumbnail. This video is not about that. I actually spoke to Keith Downie yesterday. I interviewed him in the downtown streets of Philadelphia, and I spoke to him about, well, the transfer window. Despite the fact that we are in America now, there's still so much going on behind the scenes back home. It's still an active transfer window where Newcastle are trying to bring in new players as well as offload to maintain a 25-man squad. So I asked Keith Downie some tough questions. I asked him about financial fair play. I think for everyone watching this video, it's still quite hard to fully grasp financial fair play and how it affects Newcastle compared to other clubs. But Keith Downie, to be honest, gave a really good explanation in this video. So yeah, plenty to get into. And speaking of Keith, he's actually just recently made a YouTube channel as well. Quite literally started on the YouTube scene this week. I'm going to put down his channel link in the pinned comment. Make sure to subscribe to him. Massive thanks to Keith for getting them onto the channel. And for me, make sure you get down there, hit that subscribe button as well for myself. It's going to be daily videos on the channel. I'm trying to get 2 videos a day as well. I'm trying to get as much out as possible. There's so much going on. If you like what you watch, smash that like button. And finally, as for your thoughts on this video, leave them down in the comment section. I'll reply as many as I can. Again, with the time zone differences over here, it's quite hard to get back audios and time. There's just so much going on. But appreciate it. Without further ado, let's get into it. So guys, we are now joined here by Keith Downie across at Sky Sports. He's been in America for a few days now. And someone that you started off, actually, you now have a YouTube channel. So you want to quickly tell everyone that's watching what you're doing on it?
Just copying you, Adam. No, listen, it's something that I've been meaning to do for a little while. Laziness, and it takes time, actually, as I'm sure you're well aware. You put a lot of sort of man hours into it. So I just felt, I've been meaning to do it for months. A couple of my colleagues are doing it now as well. And I just thought, we're party to quite a lot of information and stuff going on. And I just feel I probably need to be doing more stuff like that. So yeah, I just thought I'd get involved, and I thought no better time being over here in this American tour when there's obviously a lot of eyes on the tour and there's not as many fans over here that are, that would be back in the UK. So I just thought I'd do it, and I thought it's no better place to start a video diary than here. So it might not last beyond America, it might just be while I'm here, but we'll see after that. But I have to say, it is a little bit time consuming, so I understand what you guys go through having to do all that. But obviously me doing the YouTube on top of my normal day job for Sky, I don't know how it's going to work, but we'll give it a bash and see anyway.
Well, it's just the same. Anyone, really, any of you guys watch this video, it's just test and learn. You see how it goes. If it's something you enjoy, you stick by it. If not, it's just life. It's the same anything in life.
Definitely, yeah.
But what to begin off this video, well, of course, despite the fact Newcastle are in America, there's also what's going on over here. It's still an active transfer window, so there's still stuff going on behind the scene. So far, we've got one through the door with Tonali. Barnes is expected to be announced as far as I'm aware. I know he did his media work yesterday. I think everyone kind of knows where that one's going. As well, ask you your general thoughts on those 2 first for Newcastle.
In terms of whether I think they're good players, I mean, Tonali, I didn't see the Rangers match. I think you were there, weren't you? I've been over here since Monday. I was sent out a couple of days earlier to cover Chelsea against Wrexham the other night. So I was in North Carolina, so I missed the match against Rangers. Sadly, I would have liked to have gone. But by all accounts, he played pretty well. It's hard to tell in these matches. But listen, all you can say is he's Eddie Howe's number one, or one of his top targets for this transfer window. So, if Eddie Howe's transfers are anything to go by, he's going to be another good signing. So, listen, he's an international player. He looks like he's pretty good in the ball. He looks like he does a bit of everything. So I'm looking forward to seeing him. So hopefully we'll maybe get to see him out here this weekend for the Villa game on Sunday, or maybe Atlanta afterwards. But listen, any player who costs over £50 million has obviously got something about them. So I think they desperately needed at least one midfielder. So there we go. They've got one. Harvey Barnes, I've always liked him. He scores that goal where he cuts in off the left-hand side, opens up his foot and curls it into the corner. Very Thierry Henry. He must have done that 4 or 5, 6 times last season. He's been doing it for years now. Eddie Howe loves his work rate. His numbers are great, aren't they, in terms of assists and goals over the years. And I know supporters love Alan St-Maximin, and we all do to an extent. It was great to watch him play. But Harvey Barnes probably gives you more work rate in terms of tracking back, and he probably fits into Eddie Howe's team more. So what I think is going to be interesting is whether he goes for Gordon or Barnes as the wide left, because 2 English players who are probably downtown Philadelphia, probably similar levels. So it'll be interesting which one kind of starts the season in favour. You could probably play Gordon out on the right, but he likes him on the left, cutting him. So I think a solid signing. I think he'll be a great player for the Premier League next season, and it'll be a great opportunity for him to play in the Champions League. Huge fees for these players now. I mean, nearly £40 million. It's ridiculous the money that's getting splashed, but that's what you have to pay now to get someone who's only got one England cap. But listen, he's up against some tough competition in there. So listen, I think Tonali is the big signing, isn't he? He's the big one, and then Barnes is a slightly lesser level, but I think you can imagine him fitting in perfectly to the way Eddie Howe plays. And then I'm sure we're going to chat about the potential arrivals. It sounds like he's probably trying to bring in maybe a couple more. I said at the end of the season he probably needed at least 5 new signings, so maybe they'll try and get away with 4. I think they can be a little bit creative in what to do with Kieran Trippier and maybe play him at right back or left back. I still think they need a full back, which we know they're in for, and I think without doubt they need a central defender. I think they need a right-sided central defender, and it'll be interesting to see whether they go for one on loan or if there's any money left in the kitty.
Well, I was wanting to speak about the fullback situation actually because, Timo Livramento is one that's been popping up quite a lot on social media. Now, one thing I think is quite interesting about him is sort of the transfer fees that's popping. I mean, a good amount of money for a player that's been injured for the majority of the last season. Now, I know he had no part really in Southampton's downfall, but it's a lot of money for someone that you could argue is unproven despite the games he's played.
It feels like every player right now starts like any sort of, I don't want to say average, but any half decent player now starts at 25 million, doesn't it? And that's the starting point, and then they build up from there. It's just the prices of players now, I've touched on it earlier, are just ridiculous. I mean, if Newcastle pay 25-30 million for Livramento, it feels like a lot of money, but Eddie Howe's obviously seen something in him. And as I said there, what you can do is you can push Trippier over to left back if he comes in and plays right back, and then you've got Trippier, Burnham, and Target at left back. So he's versatile, he's a young player. Again, he'll have done his homework on him. I saw him last season against, or was it maybe the season before, against Newcastle at St James's Park when he was at Southampton, and I was impressed, thought he was good. Whether he's worth 25 or 30 million pounds, I don't know. I mean, the prices of players are ridiculous at the moment. I was with Brighton earlier today, and I was chatting to Roberto De Zerbi, and Brighton are wanting 100 million pounds for Moises Caicedo. I mean, the money get thrown out about at the moment is just absolutely ridiculous. It really, really is. And there's never been a bigger gap between the Premier League footballer and the fan that goes to the game now, and I think that shows it more than anything when you've got players signing for £100 million. So back to Livramento, seems a solid enough signing. It feels like it's someone who's going to be versatile enough to play a couple of positions, and they need to beef up the squad. And he's young and he's English, and I think he probably helps with their quota for the Premier League and the Champions League as well. So I think he's ticking a lot of boxes for Eddie Howe.
Well, something I wanted to touch on actually was regarding the left back position as well, because I know Pete, your co-worker, mentioned earlier today about the possibility of Eddie Howe bringing in a young left back on loan with obligation to buy. Now, at the time I'm recording this video, guys, I think it's always important to say again, it's about 3 AM or someone in the morning on the Friday back in the UK, so this video could potentially be outdated, but I just wanted to talk anyway about potential left backs coming in.
I'm not so sure, if I'm honest. I think they may settle with, if they get Livramento, I think they might settle with that and feel they've got enough. I'm not sure if they'll bring another left back in when they've got Target and Burn there and Trippier who can play there. I'm not certain. I know Pete put something out earlier, and that's Pete's information, not mine. So there's every chance that's correct. I'm not sure. I don't know if maybe that was something before, or maybe that's an option to Livramento. I don't know. I think the priority is to bring in a central defender, and I would be amazed if they don't bring in a central defender before the end of the window. Whether that's permanently or loan, I don't know. I would suggest loan unless there's any money left in the kitty, but for the standard of player that Eddie Howe wants to bring in, he's probably going to need another 30 million there. And is there another 30 million in the kitty? I'm not so sure. So they're going to have to look in the loan market, and perhaps they'll do that for a central defender. But again, they're only going to get a player in on loan who's out of favour somewhere else, and quite often Eddie Howe doesn't want that. He wants a player who's been playing well for a long time. So let's wait and see. I don't know about the left back. I would be surprised if they got Livramento and another full back, because it feels like they've got a lot. We saw that game against Gateshead last week. There's about 5 left backs in the pitch, weren't there? So, and then you've got guys like Manquillo and Crafter there. Yes, they play on the right, but they've not gone yet. So they need. It's a really difficult balancing act at the moment. So things will change, players will go, and imagine in the last week or two of the window they might add 1 or 2 little loans.
Well, finally, I want to ask you one more question now. I know for you it must be an absolute nightmare to try and talk about this, but financial fair play, it's something that fans always bang on
You can't
about.
ask me this when I've had 3 pints in Philadelphia.
No, well, I think I just want to touch on it really because, well, obviously we're so St Maximin and all of a sudden we've got bringing more players. I just don't really understand everything about it. It's just such a nightmare to try and discuss. I just think, let's say theoretically, obviously we've got Harvey Barnes now. Like, just, I mean, Newcastle, like, what have we got to work with?
Well, listen, let's not get into the minute details of it, because if I'm honest, I don't know the minute details myself. But I think the best way to look at it, and the simplest way to look at it is Newcastle have not traded since the takeover. They've not sold players. They've got 15 million for Chris Wood. They got a nominal fee for John Joe Shelvey. I think it's about $1 million or something. And obviously St Maximin's going to go. They're going to get money in for. They're going to get money in for him. The thing is, they've not traded. Okay, so yes, you've sold Chris Wood for 15 million. Shelvey, you got like $1 million or something like that. And now St Maximin, we don't know what the fee is for him. Somewhere between 30 and 40 million, we're told. Newcastle need to trade to then be able to spend. Now, people are saying, how are Aston Villa managing to do this? 2 summers ago, they sold Jack Grealish for £100 million. Okay, how are Chelsea managing to do this? They spent 600 million. One, they're giving these 8-year contracts to get around FFP, Chelsea. But 2, they've sold in the last few years. They've got big money for Eden Hazard a few years in. They've sold Tomori, they've sold Abraham, these guys to Italy for 30, 40, 50 million. So they're trading and bringing money in. And look at the clear out they've had this summer. They've sold 12 players. I was at the Chelsea game the other night. I couldn't believe how youthful their team is. Like, they've only got about 12 or 13 senior players and just loads of kids. So they're trading. Man City even are trading, selling Zinchenko and Jesus, and Riyad Mahrez is going. So listen, these clubs are trading. Newcastle aren't doing that. Newcastle spent over £350 million since the takeover and only brought in 15-16 million pound until St Maximin. So that's part one, and then part two is the revenue streams. These clubs, your Chelsea's, your Man City's, Man United's, the revenue they're bringing in commercially is off the scale compared to Newcastle. Newcastle's commercial department has got like 5 or 6 staff in it. Man City's has got over 200. Right, so they're not got. Yes, they've got the new shirt deal. Yes, there's a sleeve deal, and there's the small deals coming in here and there, but they're nowhere near on the level of these other big teams. And I think that's where people can get mixed up, and they'll say, "Oh, Man City are doing this, and Man United, and we're not." So I think that's the twofold situation for financial fair play. I do worry that this is a bit of a red herring, and Newcastle come out and bring in an Alexander Isak with a couple of days to go. But I have to say the message throughout from the club, both on camera from Eddie Howe and from word messages we're told behind the scenes as well, is that they're close to financial fair play and they're going to have to be creative. I don't think Eddie Howe's going to lie about that. So until this club starts bringing in added revenue and getting more sponsorship deals, and until they start trading again and managing to sell players of their own, and whether that might be further down the line, selling a Bruno or a Botman or an Isak, whoever. I know you don't want to think about that now, but whether it's maybe doing that in 2 years' time, until you start doing that, this is what the situation's going to be. And it's hard, because had you been Man City when the takeover happened there 12, 13 years ago, you could have gone out and done whatever you want. Would that have been as much fun? I don't know, because you can have anything you want. Whereas now, you've still got that, you've still got that fun way where you're not going too fast too quickly, and you're kind of enjoying every step of it, which is why you guys are out here and loving this, and I'm sure you'll be in the Champions League trips as well. So that's the two main reasons, and I'm sure someone like Darren Eales or Peter Silverstone could go into all sorts of detail about it, but that's the simplistic way of looking at it.
Well, I apologise first off asking that question. I know you went into a lot of detail there. But now I appreciate it. I think for fans as well, it's always important to kind of get through this stuff. I just hope that Newcastle obviously will continue to do so well. Being back in the Champions League now is incredible. But I appreciate it, Keith. Thank you so much. Thank you for...
Remember, give me a subscribe.
yeah. Make sure to check out Keith's channel as well. It's a good reminder. But listen, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Some of your followers,
no, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. You enjoy your time in the United States of America. Keep reporting Newcastle as you always do, and I'll make sure you're safe on these streets at the end of the day. But no, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much, Keith.
Cool. No worries, mate.